Time now for the global outlook. President Obama will receive an update today on the fight against Islamic State. With U.S.-led airstrikes so far failing to stop the Sunni extremist group's advances, the president will meet with military leaders from more than 20 countries participating in the coalition. Well, Chief Washington correspondent Peter Cook is at the White House with more on that meeting. Peter, they have a lot to discuss because the latest news isn't exactly encouraging on these airstrikes.
That's right, Betty. They do have a lot to discuss. Things not playing out exactly as hoped here at the White House and some of those other foreign capitals as well. They have slowed the advance of the Islamic State. They forced the militants to change their tactics. They've taken out their oil revenues to some extent with the airstrikes, but they have not stopped the full advance of Islamic State militants in some of these places like Iraq and Syria. They're still taking up territory. You look, first of all, in Iraq, Anbar province, for example, in recent days, they've really solidified their hold over the entire province. They could take Haditha within days, according to province officials. They're within 20 miles or so of Baghdad itself, threatening Baghdad. There have even been car bombings in Baghdad itself. So very unsettling in Iraq. And then over in Syria, meanwhile, you've got Islamic State militants close to taking the Kurdish town of Kobani right there along the Turkish border. That despite multiple airstrikes by the coalition aircraft. And at the same time, you've got Turkish tanks on their side of the border sidling idly by, not engaging. This is not exactly the picture of success the administration was hoping for when the president first decided to launch those airstrikes into Iraq back in August. Since then, of course, the U.S. has gotten more involved with the beheadings of American journalist James Foley and Steven Sotloff, and ultimately, of course, the creation of this international coalition, the decision to launch airstrikes into Syria itself last month. But the administration insists it always knew that it would take more than just these airstrikes to ultimately defeat, to degrade, and destroy the Islamic State. It's going to take boots on the ground, and that means giving time for the Iraqi forces to engage in the fight with the Islamic State and ultimately to allow for Syrian rebels to take up the fight in Syria. But they have to be trained first, Betty. It's not happening right now, and that's going to be a big focus of this meeting at Andrews Air Force Base. What can be done in the meantime to turn the tide? The Joint Chiefs Chairman, Martin Dempsey, is going to lead this discussion with his counterparts from other parts of the world, and the president's going to be there this afternoon for his own personal update.